What's up everybody, trueeevil here, and today I'm going to walk you through what is the best way to use your stamina on double drop weekend. This is what I did at the first double drop weekend, and it really helped propel my account to be able to do all the Inferno content that's presented in the game at this time. Now, I will say that this plan is for people who have over like 20 stamina pods. If you only have 5, 10, do whatever you think is the most important thing. This is for people who have been saving up stamina pods and have a ton. At right now, I had over 80 for the first double drop weekend, and now I think I have like between 40 and 60. I don't know the exact number, but I haven't used the stamina pod since the last double drop weekend. So without further ado, let's just talk about the best things. Now, I'm not going to do this on this double drop weekend, but this is the thing I did on the first one, and it really set my account for success. And what you want to do, go to battle, go to GP Outpost, and as you can see on these achievements, on reason observation point 200 times, odd observation point 200 times, all of these achievements were done during the double drop weekend, except for the green one, because at the beginning, like first 10 days of the game, 5 out of my 7 units were green, so I did do a lot of that. But with the other colors, I went crazy on double drop weekends, and I made sure I got the 200 wins on each of this to get the achievements. And doing this on double drop weekend, what it did was for my account, every time I've gotten a new unit and I want to use prowesses on them, for example, Fangus is a unit I have been leveling up pretty max. You know, I never have to worry about running out of blues and perps because, with the Union Shop, you're going to be able to redeem for the gold prowesses. There's a lot of ways to get gold prowess packs. So if you have this giant surplus of blue and purple, you pretty much never have to farm GP outposts, unless if you have that Union weekly where you have to do 20 of a particular one. But so far in the game, even though I didn't have any disorder units, I didn't have any constant units except Valerian at the time. Now it's like, oh, I have Ditting, I want to level him up. I can max out his prowess, not have to do a single GP outpost. I got Catchy the Guard, can max out his skill 3, didn't have to do a single GP outpost. And it's sort of been like that with Viper, just Obel, every single unit in the game that I've been building so far, I haven't had to do GP outposts. So 100%, if you haven't finished all the achievements, I would just max them all out, even if you don't have a character, because it's going to make it so all of your stamina outside of double drop weekend is going to be on what's important, which is shells and modules. And probably I would say the most important thing is always shells and modules when you need them. And we're going to focus on modules during double drop weekend, but we're going to get there. The next thing we want to talk about isn't actually going to be modules, it's going to be investigation, and how much you're going to do is going to depend on how many books you have. So right now I'm running pretty low on books, and as you can see, to get to that next level, it takes quite a bit to get to that 5-star. And what I'm going to be prioritizing in this double drop weekend is, since I did all that GP outpost in the first one, I am actually going to be using 30 of my 40 to 50 stam pods on investigation. And that might seem overkill, but for me, since I did that in the first one, what ended up happening was whenever I needed a character for a particular thing, like in the last Ember Trek, for example, in Hard 36, the Apate, it seemed impossible to me on my account, and instead of just being like, oh, if only if I had a Lily I could beat this, what I did was I was asking people what worked, and they were like, dude, if you have a maxed out Vice, this is so easy. And because I farmed those books, I was just 6-star, level 50, boom, we got Vice. And then, even though that fight was still difficult, I was able to do it because I had the Vice. And just being able to max level a character you need for this really, really hard in-game content is just really valuable. So for me, I think getting these books are absolutely essential, and I am definitely going to do 30. Now, I don't recommend just spamming all of them, but if you have 80 stamina capsules, you're going to use some for the GP outpost. I recommend just maxing out everything on the GP outpost. Then I would say if you have like 50 left, I would use 30. If you have 40 left, I would use 20. If you have 30 left, I would use 15. If you have 20, 10, and then if you, well, if you have less than 20, it's up to you on your discretion, but being able to stock up on investigation just makes everything easier, and we can do the most important thing when it's not double drop, which is focus on shells and sometimes modules. So let's move on to the last part, which of course is going to be modules. So now we're at the last part, which is modules. And how you go about the modules is going to be a little bit different for everyone, of course, because, well, not everyone's at the same place in content. Not everyone can do Hell 4. Not everyone can do Inferno. And even if you can do Inferno, not everyone can do, say, Terramatan. Not everyone can do Aurora. Not everyone can do Doki Doki. So this is really going to be important on that front. But what I will say is the most important thing to farm, it's really going to depend on the person, but for me personally, I need a lot of right side module pieces. And, you know, there are a couple of pieces I need. Like, for example, I do need more Colossus Guards. I do need more Swift Smites. So, of course, I'm going to do Aurora. But when I was talking about, like, thinking about how much time it takes me about 8 to 10 minutes to do an Aurora run, which is not good if, you know, if I have to burn 80 capsules. And what I do need is I need right side module pieces that are going to make it so I don't have to switch out on characters a whole bunch. And it's usually the Swift Rush pieces that I need and Time Weave pieces. Because for me personally, I'm using a lot of 12 Swift Rush, 12 Time Weave on a lot of this PvE content. And because of that, I really, really want to farm Doki Hell 4. And even though I'm not going to get final modules for it, it's going to make me clear about a minute and 30 seconds faster. So it's going to make me be able to cycle, get the things I need, and actually take advantage of double drop weekend with all my saved stamina. Now, of course, if I only have like 6 or 7 stamina capsules, I'm going to go straight and only focus on the final modules, go for Aurora, but that's not the case here, right? We got a ton of them. So we want to save, I would say, figure out which right side pieces you need, and if you can clear Doki Doki really quick on Inferno, you can clear Terramatan on Inferno really quick, obviously go for those. But for me, it takes me a while to do Doki Inferno, and I don't really need any Swift Ray pieces. What I need is the right side pieces. There's not really a difference between Hell 4 modules and Inferno modules, so in that respect, I'm just going to full send Hell 4 Doki Doki for a little bit. And it might seem weird because I can clear every Inferno in the game. Why would I do Hell 4? And it's time. We are focusing on getting the prize. And then after that, well, I need Swiss Smite and Colossus Guard, so I'm going to move on to that. And also, we're getting some new characters before Double Drop Weekend, and I know I'm definitely going to need to pick up some Wellspring, so I'm also going to prioritize Terramatan. And I know I can do Terramatan at a decent time in Inferno, so basically what I'm going to prioritize is 50% of my runs are going to be Doki Hell 4, and then 25% of my runs are going to be Terror Inferno, and then at the end, I know Aurora takes me the longest, so I'm going to do Aurora on those, and say when I'm going to sleep Saturday night before day 2 of Double Drop Weekend, I'm going to do my last night as the Aurora run because it takes longer. You know, maybe I have to go do some errands and I'm not going to be on my phone for an hour or two. I'm going to set that as the Aurora run. That's how I'm going to prioritize. So really go in with a plan, know which characters you're going to need to build, and also figure out like what does most people's accounts look like. And for me, Swift Rush, Time Weave, 1212 on pretty much like everything is going to just make a lot of things a lot easier. So highly recommend doing that, especially if you're doing like double healer comps like I'm doing with Mia Ling Lugi, and probably when you add Fuki Fuki into that, it's just going to make everything a lot easier. So actually, not with Fuki Fuki, because you're probably going to go Wellspring Cure Ether Plague or Wellspring Cure Evolgard, you know. So yeah, that's how I would focus on Double Drop Weekend, and I hope everyone has the best Double Drop Weekend in the world, and I hope all of your right side modules only roll speed subsat. So good luck, boys. Keep it real.